Hey, welcome back. Today on Lone Bull Barbecue, we're making pork carnitas, specifically tacos with homemade tableside guacamole. So we're going to start outside with our induction burner and a cast iron pot. And in there, I'm going to put in a large container of lard, a 64-ounce container of lard. Now we're going to take a boneless pork butt. I use boneless for this because there's no use for the bone. If I'm smoking a pork butt, I usually do bone in, but in this case, let's make it easier for ourselves and just use boneless. You're going to want to start by cutting this into like 1-inch strips. And then once you get the strips made, then you can start cutting into chunks. And normally that's a little bit over an inch is what I use, Now, here you can also trim any extra fat you want to as you're cutting these up. And it's nice if all the sizes are the same, but if not, it is what it is. But you want to get consistent as much as you can so that they all cook together the same. Now for seasoning, I put a little Diamond Kosher salt on there. I put some cracked pepper, but the main seasoning I'm using is the Meat Church fajita. Their fajita rub does not have a lot of salt in it, so you're going to need to add some salt yourself. So I put some on there and mixing it up. I actually used the fajita rub pretty liberally. You'll see I added some more here to it. It can take it. It's going to cook for quite a while as well, so feel free to use quite a bit of it. Now once it's all mixed up, let's go back to the lard and check the temperature. I wanted to get up to about a 350, between 350 and 360, which is where it's temping right now. Once you put the meat in, that temperature is obviously going to drop. So carefully start dropping in your meat a little bit at a time. You don't want to just dump it in because that lard is hot. But you want everybody in the swimming pool, so if you got to push it down a little bit, you might have to. This pot was the perfect size. It was just large enough to handle everything that we're going to put into it, including the meat. So now that everything's in, I try to maintain a temperature of about 350, or I'm sorry, about 300 or so. So right now we're just kind of mixing it up, making sure everybody's submerged and not sticking together. And we bring it up to a simmer and let it simmer for a while. Now I'll simmer for about an hour to make sure everything's cooking good. And then every now and then you're going to want to come in and stir it. And after about an hour, hour and a half, you want to start adding your extra ingredients. So for this, we're adding a whole orange. So I've cut it in half. We're going to squeeze as much juice out of it as we can. But don't worry, you're going to get the rest of it because you're going to drop it in there. So both halves of the orange. We also cut up a whole white onion into quarters, dropping that in. You could use yellow onion. It's probably, it's just maybe even better in this. And then I'm also dropping in about 6 or 7 cloves of garlic. Now you can also add bay leaves if you want. The last piece here is the zest from the oranges that I took off. So we're going to mix that in. But yeah, some recipes call for bay leaves, maybe oregano, some other, whatever you want, cinnamon sticks. I've seen that as well. Today, instead of cinnamon sticks, we are going to use a Coca-Cola. You can find the Mexican Cokes. I found mine at H-E-B. You're going to want the large bottle and just go ahead and pour all that in there. It's going to give it some sweetness. It's a great addition to this. So you'll notice even after pouring that up, that pot's still big enough to cover everything just enough. But now we're going to mix this up and let it simmer for another hour or so. The things we do for YouTube. I checked the weather today and it was supposed to be clear. But as you can see, it's coming down. So I'm standing out here over my carnitas as they're cooking outside with an umbrella. So the rain kept coming down. I had the smoker running anyway, so I went ahead and put the pot in the smoker. It sat in here for maybe 30-45 minutes. You can see that dark color on the top is where the smoke's coming in, and you need to go in and stir that every now and then, but that added another dimension of flavor. If you can smoke it, I always recommend you do it. So now, after about 2.5-3 hours of cooking, we're going to take everything out. So I've got these little pans with racks. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the chunks as much as I can and get those out so we can take them in and go with the next step. So there's all the chunks. There's a little bit left in there, so I'm going to take my tongs and grab as much as I can. Let's take those oranges and just get them out of the way. And then go in there and get those smaller bits using a strainer like this. So you don't want to waste anything. We're going to grab as much of that good meat as we can. Take it out there. See, look how much I would have left behind if I hadn't done this. That's enough for 1 or 2 tacos right there. So I have to try this. It's so tender, look, it even fell out of my fingers. Man, that's good. That's good straight out of the pot. So I'm going to take these inside and come back and grab a few other items here. So finally, you want to go in and get some of that lard. It's quite tasty. It's got the orange, it's got the Coke, it's got that pork flavor in it. So we're going to use this later. So grab some of that and set aside and keep it. But beforehand, let's create our guacamole. So I'm using a molcajete for this. I opened a couple of mature avocados and put them in there. Added some lime juice. Some Diamond Crystal kosher salt, of course. That was probably 1/2 to 3/4 of a teaspoon for this small amount. Now, I like using the molcajete because, well, one, it's a cool serving dish to put it in.
Ain't it cool?
But it also, I like my guacamole creamy, not chunky, so you can really, demolish this in that with that pestle. So it took a quick taste, needs a little bit more lime, so we're going to add that to it and then mix that in. Now I've got a Roma tomato. Now, historically, I've never liked tomatoes, but I've recently learned that it's the insides of the tomato I really don't like. So we'll take that aside. We'll take the rind, I guess if you want to call it, slice that up, and I'm not putting a ton in here. But we'll slice that up and add it to the guac. My slicing skills need work. And there we go. Now, also dice a tomato. Dice an onion. Add some onion to it. And also, if you like it, this is optional, cilantro. We're big cilantro fans here. You're going to see it quite a bit throughout the rest of the video. And then, in this case, I'm mixing everything with a spoon. You don't want to crush up those tomatoes and those onions. So I'm just mixing everything good with the spoon. I think it's good to go, but here comes my wife to give it a taste test. She thought she was sneaking one in on me. So the rain had come back. It's starting to get dark outside, so I decided to move inside. Now I've got a flat griddle, as you can see here, and I'm taking some of that lard that I took from the pot, and we're just putting some down and heating up some tortillas. Now, for this first night, we're using flour tortillas. Specifically, these are the HEB butter tortillas. I love these things. But you just want to get a little color on them. Just do one side, flip it over, get a little color. And ideally, you'll see that this is the second one. See how it's puffing up? When you put it down on one side and you flip it over, normally if they're really good, they're going to start puffing. So that's what you're really looking for. Now that our tortillas are done, let's crisp up those carnitas. Listen to this sizzle when they go on there. That's what you want to hear. So you want to put these on a griddle, or you do it in a pan, and break up the big chunks. Add as much as you'd like. Don't overcrowd the pan, obviously. But we're going to griddle these for a bit just so that they get a little color, get a little crispy bits on them. But don't forget that nectar of the gods, or some of that leftover lard that you had on there. That'll help it out. Mix that in and let these sit for just a little bit. And you're going to flip them. Look how dark they're getting there. You don't want to overcook them. You don't want to dry them out, but adding that lard is going to keep some of that moisture in there, add a little more flavor to it. It only takes 2 or 3 minutes, and you're ready to pull them. And be sure and get every bit off there, because some of those smaller pieces are going to be nice and crunchy, and they're going to really be good in a taco. Or nachos. Man, there's so many uses for these carnitas. So let's assemble some tacos. We got our 2 tortillas. I'm going to swipe a little guacamole on there first. Now this is all your preference. However you want to fix these, you can do them with just carnitas and maybe some salsa, but we're going big tonight. So now we're putting the carnitas on. Put a healthy amount. That's why I like flour tortillas over corn here, because you can normally get a lot more in a flour tortilla. I've got a little cojita cheese I'm going to put on. I'm putting this on, normally people put that on last, but I'm putting it on the meat so it can melt a little bit. And follow that up with a little salsa verde. Salsa verde. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing a lot. Now the recipe for this, I'll probably have it out soon, but I got this from ArnieTex cookbook. If I ever meet Arnie, I'm going to hug him just for his salsa recipes. And you can't have enough cilantro, so I'm adding some more extra raw onion and cilantro here. And finally, some lime. Man, that looks good. And there is our presentation of the tacos. So I'm going to sit here and try these. Now I apologize, I didn't know the camera was cutting my head off, but let's take this first taco and try a bite. Man, that was good. I mean, that was so good. You get the meat has so many textures to it, with the crispy and the soft, and that the flavor is just unbelievable. You got to try this. The guacamole is fresh, and the cilantro, the crunchy onions. I got to go in for a second bite. Look how big that bite is. Oh, this is bringing back memories. I want to have some in front of me right now. Now I'm a big nacho fan too, and this is perfect for nachos. So I'll put a little guacamole, put a few little carnitas on top of that, and that is a tasty bite too. And I got to follow that up with another bite of carnitas. Oh. So that was the first day. The second day, my wife made some corn tortillas, and we made this again with corn tortillas. I added a little creme fraiche on top of it. They were just as good. Now, let's get Parker the Wonder Dog and see what he thinks.
Can you speak? Speak. Speak. Good boy.
Wow. He liked them. Everybody, thanks for watching. Come back soon. We'll have some more videos out, and see you next time.